Yeah, I think that was my sister's tactic when I told her to buy your book. She didn't want my little niece to see it, so she's the audio version.
I hear from lots of people who tell me at book signings that they bought it for their parents because to help, I don't know, to domesticate the topic for their parents.
Yeah, I think it's really important. Why now? Like, was it the science that pulled you into this, or was it personal experience?
It was the science. When I started learning about this research, I was fascinated by it. I didn't realize that this was allowed, much less getting funded and happening. And I learned about that before I had had any experiences myself. And in fact, my first foray into this topic was writing a really straight, white-coated scientist piece for the New Yorker on the experiments giving psilocybin to people with cancer diagnoses to relieve their, with the idea of relieving their anxiety and depression. And for me, that really drove it. It made me realize, okay, this topic is right. There's a way to talk about it that's not, you know, that may escape some of the stigma, because these were very, you know, leading institutions. Johns Hopkins is the leading medical school in the country, and NYU is there too. And so that gave me a sense that, okay, now's the time. But it also allowed me to tell a story about it to the New Yorker. Had I just wanted to do a piece on psychedelics and my own experiences, I can't imagine it would have done at that point. But you know, it's kind of what we do as journalists, is have our finger in the air and just have this sixth sense that the culture may be ready to have a conversation on a given topic before the culture knows it. And we're not that far ahead. I think if you get too far ahead, what are you talking about? I had a mentor in magazine publishing when I worked as a magazine editor many years ago. And we were working on a magazine that went out of business very quickly because it was too far ahead of its time, actually. This was a magazine started in 1980, about the convergence of personal computers, satellites, TV screens, and then how this was going to revolutionize media. It didn't make any sense to anybody except the editor of this magazine, who actually was visionary. So we went out of business.
Fala, China, bom dia, cara.
Said, well, one important lesson here is, as a journalist, you want to be a short-term visionary. So I've strived for nothing more than that.
Bom dia, bom dia, bom dia.
And so I did have this sense that there was something in the air, and maybe it was.
Do you think it's a combination of, you know, obviously there seems to be a lot of anxiety in the world, but also, you know,
muito bem, muito bem, muito bem, muito bem, muito bem.
And then opioid use as well.
Vamos começar aqui por Itaú.
Standards of treatment are not working today?
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. I mean, I think we have a mental health crisis in this country. And it has several different dimensions.
Itaú para mim ainda continua comprado. Blá blá blá. Acho que vem fechar o gap hoje. Certo. Talvez venha para cá. Não acho que deva perder esse fundo, ou se perder, pode ser um grandíssimo candidato a rompimento falso. Petrobras. Petrobras é a pior de todas, né? Nossa, como tá chata a Petrobras. Não tenho o que falar para a Petrobras. Lateral total. Itaúsa. Itaúsa tá feia. Queda pra mim. Queda até os R$9 aí, pelo menos, na minha opinião. Vale queda, apesar de estar lateralizando, eu acho que ela vai descer pelo menos até os 51,42, no mínimo. Bova também, caindo aos pouquinhos. Quem mais aqui? O dólar. Dólar subindo. Subindo.
I also think, frankly, it has something to do with where we are nationally right now. I think a change of consciousness is very appealing to people just now. We're in this, political emergency, and people have a desire to escape it or figure out some other way.
Fechou na resistência, mas dólar é dólar, né? Andando bastante. 76,5 aqui seria a venda para mim. 76,5 seria um ponto de resistência para o dólar. Minha opinião. Talvez a abertura aí pode ser que haja um trade especulativo aí. Com alvo em 39,5. 39,5 é suporte para o dólar. Bem como 42,5.
E
61. Mas não vou deixar aqui não. Vou deixar o ponto dos 39,5 como sempre, como sendo o tenso aí. Deixa eu ver no 15 minutos se ele está correspondendo. Está correspondendo. E aí talvez aqui o 45 também seja um probleminha. Mas prefiro o 39,5. Certo? Que é esse cara aqui. A gente vai ver ele no índice também. Uma estrutura parecida. Então tudo que vier de cima para baixo aqui é compra. Certo? Continua a tendência aí. E o 76,5. O 70 já bateu. Vou tirar ele aqui. 76,5 realmente é um pontaço aí pro dólar. Se ele abrir ali, pode ser um trade de scalp. Sem dúvida nenhuma. Ué, soninho hoje. Ontem assisti o Palmeiras, né? Puta vida. Tristeza, meu verdão. Mas tudo bem. Então hoje eu tô mais sonado aí. Enfim. Vamos para o Profit. Bom, ontem um belo trade no 112,8. Um belo trade na minha venda no final também, né? Que eu acabei finalizando a live, acabei saindo no fechamento do gap aqui, andou bem mais, né? Andou ainda 450 pontos. E aí, assim como no dólar eu mostrei para vocês, deixa eu pôr no 15 minutos, aqui tá no 15 minutos, né? Assim como no dólar eu mostrei para vocês, o índice ele parou na estrutura que o dólar é o 39,5, o 9,5 que eu falei para vocês do dólar, o índice é 820. E ele realmente parou aqui e deve fazer algo assim. Se já não fez, né? Deixa eu até conferir aqui. Ficou próximo de se fazer aqui, né, no 0,45. Mas essa estrutura eu vou deixar aqui até. Tá. O que é importante pro gráfico de hoje, né, na minha opinião, é de novo, o índice se comporta de forma compradora no final. Certo? Só que dessa vez ele perdeu força. Dessa vez não, né? No dia da facada do Bolsonaro também ele perdeu força, mas subiu tanto que ninguém botou muita fé, né? Mas aqui ele completou o ABCD e já opera abaixo desse ABCD. E o principal, o último pullback, deixou um vestígio, 780, certo? E também este cara aqui já foi ultrapassado. Ele estava mais ou menos por aqui, ó. Certo? Então pode ser que esse cara venha acontecer. de novo a gente faz um fundo triplo aqui, ou vem de novo testar nessas regiões. Então muita calma nessa hora. Tudo acima dos 145 é compra, certo? Mas essa compra pode parar entre os 670 e os 780. Então novamente, perdão, café mega quente aqui. Se não houver gaps enormes, a gente tem de novo uma região aqui menor para tentar operar, certo? Vendido aqui, comprado aqui no 145 ou depois no 820. Então promete aí um dia bastante notícia. Eu acho que tem, se eu não me engano, eu vi no BR Invest certa da Europa, tem algumas notícias, né? Então interessante a gente estar olhando. Então tem notícias, já foi aqui, algumas delas. Tem aqui norte-americanas, 9h30 por aí. E também essa coletiva aqui. Nada que vá realmente explodir alguma coisa no mundo. Tá, mas é bom ficar de olho. Certo, só para também não tomar uma violinada de graça, ou se tomar, pelo menos ter noção que pode entrar de novo, porque é notícia. Eu ouvi seus podcasts, parabéns. Pô, Jonathan, valeu, velho. Primeiro feedback que eu tenho no podcast, valeu. Eles são bem rústicos, né? Meu microfone até que é muito bom, mas os entrevistados, tanto a mim como o Gustavo, foram via WhatsApp. Então, bem rústico ainda, mas, cara, valeu. É uma das formas que eu tenho de passar conteúdo para vocês de maneira dinâmica, né? Sim, vocês podem escutar quando vocês vão malhar na academia ou quando vocês estão indo para o trabalho, certo? Uma coisa do day to day, assim, você não precisa parar para ler um livro, você não precisa parar para assistir um vídeo, você está ouvindo ali um podcast e fazendo, cozinhando, malhando, trabalhando, enfim. Então é bem legal, dirigindo. Sempre muito bom esse tipo de conteúdo. Vai de encontro com a rotina que os seres humanos estão rumando, né? Mas eu pretendo melhorar. Eu vou atrás do Jota, eu acho, Jota Trader, para ser meu próximo entrevistado, digamos assim. Acho que vai ser legal. Mais uma entrevista aí. E pode deixar nos comentários aqui, ou a gente pode conversar quem vocês gostariam que eu fosse atrás, tentasse entrar em contato para um próximo episódio. Eu acho que vale a pena escutar, né? Ou novas perguntas, né? Eu tenho 4 perguntas que eu estou fazendo, né? Se vocês tiverem alguma ideia de pergunta aí. Certo, galera? Então não temos outros pontos. Eu não tenho outros pontos, são esses aí que estão na tela. Se esse será o fundo pré ou até eleição, beleza, eu já tenho meus pontos, tenho aqui, né, tenho 875, tem 3 pontos de suporte, por enquanto 2 de resistência, 3, né, o 45 é resistência, mas não vou utilizá-lo como resistência, a não ser que dê um sinal muito bom. Mas fora isso, nada de novo no front, esse monte de bolinha não dá, né, e a gente vai dançando conforme a música das eleições, certo? O meu big ponto é o 175, tá? Acho que pode dar um trade bem legal aqui, mas ele não tá querendo descer. Pelo menos não nos melhores dias, né? Hoje é quinta, amanhã vai ser sexta, tomara que não toque na sexta-feira aqui, né? Porque sexta-feira não é um bom dia. Tomara que seja uma segunda, uma terça, né? E quem sabe fazer um swing trade aí no índice, que é um ponto do diário para mim, né? O diário do índice tá aí, ó, tá no fundo, certo? Aparenta ser o fundo aí pré-eleição, tá com cara pelo menos, mas quem sou eu para dizer? Temos gap para se fechar, tá? Não espero movimentos explosivos, a não ser que a gente toque essa região do 175, que é a minha região que eu escolhi. Estou bem otimista com ela, mas não necessariamente ela vai ser 1000 pontos de gap no índice. Ô louco, como assim? Você tá chutando que vai ser 1000 pontos de gap ou você tá simplesmente afirmando? E qual seria a razão? Não sou um bom exemplo, né? Porque eu raramente vejo notícias, mas qual seria essa razão? Na abertura de hoje, 1000 pontos. Pra cima ou pra baixo? Pra cima? Pra cima, provavelmente. Né? Ah, se for 1000 pontos pra cima... Se for pra baixo, aí ferrou, né? Se bem que pra baixo, 1000 pontos vai dar exatamente no ponto que eu tô falando, dos 175. Bom dia, Oliva. Bom dia. Pra cima. Que pena, velho. Se for 1000 pontos pra cima, vai lá na resistência já. A gente tenta... Eu vou tentar pegar algum pullback aí, né? Pra variar um pouco. Certo. A gente pode usar, se ele abrir com gap pra cima, a gente pode usar o 170 como compra. O 670, perdão, como compra. Tentando se proteger de riscos gigantescos, né? Ele fecha em ponto de suporte 235, que é o primeiro ABCD, por isso está em amarelo, né? Primeiro ABCD. Vamos lá, vamos ver então qual que vai ser a boa. Ups. O dólar abre em queda, então o índice realmente deve abrir em alta. Só que o dólar abre em queda já querendo bagunçar pra cima, obviamente. Vamos lá, não sei se o China é Insider Information, mas ele falou que vai abrir com gaps. Com gap. Então eu já vou até tomar meu café aqui, porque raramente eu opero gap. Oh, faltou meu autógrafo aqui. Meia 4 é a resistência do dólar, a primeira resistência do dólar. 64. 67,5 a segunda. Eu quero ver o 66,5. Então vou até pôr de outra cor aqui. É esse ponto que eu vou estar de olho. Talvez eu... por rosa, ver se dá sorte. Talvez eu opere dólar hoje, vamos ver. Pode ser uma bela oportunidade. Chutando aí. Ou chutando não, né? Acreditando que dólar para baixo, índice para cima. E o índice não vai abrir não? O índice tá com treta, né, pra abrir já, não é de hoje, né? Todo dia ele demora um pouquinho mais pra abrir. Seria ótimo abrir sem gap, né? Apesar de contrariar nosso amigo China, seria espetacular. Se abrir com gap de alta abaixo dos 780, temos alguma chance de operar os 780 na venda. Já abriu pra cima. Chatice ali. Puta vida. Bom, o que faremos nessa situação? 780, então nem vou usar mais, que já não gostei. Mas o 670 eu uso, tá? Então 670 aqui é ele que vai ficar para uma possível opereta, certo? E realmente, não sei se foi 1000 pontos, China. Cara, quase. Foi, sei lá, 600, 700 pontos. Então, mandou bem, velho. Mandou bem. Dá até pra estudar um Fibonacci, eu acho, com essa estrutura, viu? Vamos chutar um Fibo aqui pra ver. Ó, tem o 45, hein, galera. Cuidado com o 45 aí, ABCD. Eu chutaria um Fibo. Cara, daqui... Deixa eu ver se a gente tem algum Fibo que tá exato. Nenhum tá exato, que é um saco. Talvez esse Fibo aqui, ó, usando 50, 25, vamos ver. 50, 25. Melhorou. Então vamos lá, tira. Tira. Colocaria o 6,3, deve ter sido onde ele parou. Bom, exato. E agora vamos para o 70.7. 245, legal. Vou deixar esse Fibo aí, tá bacaninha, bonitinho. Calma aí. Algo está errado nele. Esse Fibo aqui. Pronto. Então, para vocês viciados em Fibonacci, temos fechamento aqui do dia até o nosso fundo. Aí fizemos um B em 50, um C em 6,3. Para quem cursou Fibonacci Trading manja. E aí agora 70.7, só que tá no meio do gap, né? Então, eu diria que muito provavelmente vai explodir isso daqui. Certo. Explodir para cima, não vai parar ali não. Mas sempre bom ter isso em mente. E é esse o melhor Fibo que eu tenho. Eu não preciso de você. 780 não quero mais comprar. Tchau. Se bem que tá... cara, tá dando uma confluência com o 50, né? Que coça. Mas não vou comprar não. 670, galera. Seria o meu ponto de compra. Meu primeiro ponto de compra, vai. Acreditando numa mega tendência de alta hoje. Só vamos subir até tirar o 780, que vai mais atrapalhar. Opa! Vai mais atrapalhar do que me ajudar. Que eu não consigo tirar. Depois eu tiro. Deixa eu ver aqui. Depois eu tiro. 15 minutos aqui tá interessante. Vamos deixar ele. Tá vindo para os 670 para causar aquele frisson. No 670, esse cara aqui já não existe mais. Eu também acho que vai fechar o gap. Bom dia, Rockefeller. Chegou o cara da grana. Também acho que vai fechar o gap, mas não necessariamente hoje, né, China? Então, cuidado, meu alvo para essa comprinha, se rolar uma comprinha no 670, vai ser o 45, tá? Acreditando que as manhãs estão sendo consolidadas e as tardes estão sendo as tardes direcionais. Então a gente tem aí apesar do gap de novo, que é um saco, a gente tem aí um range legal de trade, eu acho. Compra, primeiro ponto de compra 670, alvo 0,45. E depois, se ele quiser brincar de consolidar, a gente tem o 145 como outro ponto de compra. E depois aqui embaixo de novo. Venda, 45 pode ser venda, 245 pode ser venda, só que só com mão pequena. Hoje só mão pequena, né? Não tem nenhum trade gigante. E aqui risco bem pequenininho também, porque se ele vier para fechar o gap, ele vem em 2, 3 candles e fecha esse gap aí.
Another is there's something called holotropic breathwork.
Oh man, I love your chapter on this because this, as a fellow person that has heart palpitations, because I know you talked about the fact that you had some, and I was just like listening to it.
Vamos ver se a gente formou alguma historinha ali no gráfico de 144. Mas ó, 670, hein, galera. Pode ser nossa primeira loucura aí. 960. Nossa, quanto número aqui. O que é esses números loucos aqui? 670. Procurar uma entrada via ticks. Queridíssimo tick. Então o que nós temos no queridíssimo tick até agora? Um pullback. Vamos seguir nesse pullback. Se mudar o comportamento, a gente pode seguir para o 0,45. Uma boa. Um alvo. Vamos ver. Porque o 670, a BCD fechado ontem, né? Ups. Calma aí, vamos ver se ele toca lá. Depois eu explico. Senão perco. Mas enfim, é o ABCD. Puta vida. Depois eu explico. Então a mudança de comportamento tem que ser um cara maior que esse pullback que eu estou metrificando, que está regendo a queda. Então vamos ver.
Have you found that people come up to you and say, "Oh, I've tried that before. I tried mushrooms and it freaked me out. I would never."
Beleza, toca o 670. Quero ver a mudança de comportamento aí com este carinha aí. Still have your ego attached, and you can feel kind of freaked out, and you can go between this back and forth of you might die, you might not die, but then when you get the proper instructor and the proper dosage, you kind of blast through that and let go of the ego, and then you get the proper experience. Do you find that to be the case? Vou dar uma especulada com risco mínimo. O primeiro alvo seria o 705, ou ele me stopa aqui. Não teve sinal ainda. Mas só porque meu risco é pequenininho. Oh, já tomei já. Só porque meu risco era pequenininho. Mas tem que mudar esse cara aqui para entrar em compra. E passou. Opa. Esse é o problema no gráfico de tique, viu? O que eu quero ver com calma então agora? É a gente passar esse cidadão aqui, passa ele, certo? Ver o que foi contado aqui, para a gente operar ele de cima para baixo e aí começar a subir. É um ponto que eu gostaria de ver o índice subir a partir dessa região aqui, certo? Mas não necessariamente ele vai subir. E se ele vier fechar o gap e passar do gap aqui? Bom, o 235 também é ponto de compra. Tá? Então também vou ver o mesmo tipo de movimento aqui. Mas queria ver uma tendência forte hoje, né? Então queria que ele parasse, que tivesse parado ali pelo menos. Como é um gráfico muito curtinho, num minuto ele está próximo aí, ó. Certo? Então, num minuto nós temos esse cara aqui, ó. Pullback da abertura. Então, num minuto tem que ver esse cara ser ultrapassado. E aí a gente pega ele de cima para baixo, tentando um ABCD e depois rumando aqui para os 45. O 670, agora tendo tempo para explicar, é o ABCD aqui da tarde. Então, queria que voltasse a mais uma pernada aqui, ó. Por enquanto nada, vamos esperar. E aí fora o 235, só lá embaixo, né? Só no 145 aqui, ó. O que é o 145? O 145 é o ABCD lá da queda. Então vamos imaginar que nós viemos em 1, 2, 3. E aí namoramos aqui, babá, e agora a gente vai tocar ele de cima para baixo. Certo? Continua com esse alvo, porque o fundo está aqui, né? Então entrando aqui, continua 45. Uau, dá um belo trade aqui, hein? Quase 1000 pontos. Dos 145 a no mínimo 45. Então pode ser. Pode ser também. Certo? Seria muito bom.
And they keep going back, and you know, it was a once a year, twice a year kind of thing. And I have a couple of friends that, you know, are almost on a monthly schedule of doing this. And I know that's not addiction in the sense that, like, you know, a heroin user or something like that needs their fix daily. But it is something that they have to kind of, or feel compelled to kind of go in and explore further. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, and I see that with ayahuasca more than any of the other psychedelics.
Yeah.
And which is surprising because ayahuasca can be such a disruptive experience. I mean, it can be so intense, both physically and psychologically. But there, you do see this kind
Tem ponto também que eu tô vendo aqui no gráfico de 5 minutos. Muito bom. Que não é esse. Dos 900. Mas é no 0,70, se não me engano. É isso aí. Então, ó, do 145, né? Deixa eu pôr 145 em algum momento aqui. Do 145 ao 0,70 é a região onde eu gostaria de comprar, objetivando ainda o 45, tá? Se ele parar agora e subir, sacanagem, né? Sacanagem, parou no meio do gap. Parou nesse pullback, quase toca esse pullback aí. Mas não é o melhor dos cenários para mim, não.
Is an entire subculture too. I mean, it becomes an exploration of traditional cultures. If you're going to Peru, it's more than just a drug. It's an acquaintance with shamanic approaches to everything. And I know people who've had big ayahuasca experiences, often significant healing experiences, that then decide they want to become shamans and are in training. And that is a really rigorous training. I mean, you have to like eat. So you have to survive on one particular plant for 2 weeks, you know. I mean, then you go through a whole series.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
I know, and it'll be like, okay, 2 weeks on birch trees. What are you gonna do? It's intense, but it takes people there. You know, I don't want to be critical of something I don't really understand, but you know, it does have some of the earmarks of a cult. And there is the role of the shaman who is.
Não há compra abaixo dos 700, tá?
But on the other hand,
na minha opinião. Tem que passar esses caras aqui de 100 pontos e mostrar que isso foi só um pullback. 780 é o primeiro alvo para essa compra aí. Se ele passar, arriscar aqui o 700, tem o ponto do... esse ponto aqui, né? Mas já foi o dia onde o índice encarava aí uma tendência clara. Nos primeiros minutos do dia aí. Abriu de novo com gap e foi para a direção contrária. Tá com cara de mastro e bandeira, né? Tá ficando, né, com cara de mastro e bandeira no 15 minutos, né? 60 minutos também, provavelmente. Né?
Her scleroderma symptoms started to subside, and the theory is, and this is not just her theory, but there are some doctors who believe this is the case, that one of the causes of autoimmune disease may be self-punishing, and that the sense of shame and guilt that attach to that, which many victims will turn on themselves, especially if
funcionando aí a simetria. Continua a descida, abaixo do 670, não vejo compra, só acima. Só testando o 670 de cima para baixo. Consolidação. Venda de resistência, compra de suporte. O suporte está lá embaixo só. O suporte está aqui nos 820. Talvez a gente pegue uma migué próximo da região do 140 até os 0,70, né? É isso aí, 0,70, 145. Single bar nos 5 minutos.
So, you know, one of the things that we're learning, obviously, is that separating the body and the brain or the mind doesn't make any sense, and that they're closely linked in ways we don't understand. And psychedelics shed some light on it.
Me parece que a região de 75 mil vai ser a região bacana de hoje para se operar.
So microdosing is incredibly popular right now, especially in the Bay Area, but increasingly other places. It's the question I get asked about probably the most after, can you refer me to a guide? And I talk about it in the book, but not at great length. And the reason is that we don't have much science about it. A couple people are trying to track anecdotal reports, and people report relief from depression, enhanced creativity, but all this could be placebo effect. The drugs are very suggestible. When you think you've taken some acid, no matter how little, you expect something to happen, and when you expect something to happen, it often does. That's to take nothing away from it, but there has not been any kind of placebo-controlled trial of microdosing yet. And so until we have that, I think we have to just kind of defer a judgment on, is it good for anything? I mean, anecdotal reports are the beginning, right? They become a hypothesis, and then you have to test it. And those tests are getting underway, I'm told, in England, and I think there's a couple things going on the East Coast. And I know the researchers want to test it. Classically, it's 10 micrograms of LSD, which is a sub-perceptual dose. You should not see anything or really feel much.
So that's a classic dose is 100, so that's 1/10 basically.
That's right. And then with mushrooms, I think it's 0.2 grams or something like that with dried mushrooms. Although mushrooms is a little harder to do with because there's the difference of intensity between any two dried mushrooms can be an order of magnitude. So you have to experiment. You could really get that wrong. So don't do that before you go to work. But you don't do it every day because there is a tolerance and it won't work. So usually you do it every third or fourth day. And that's the microdosing protocol. James Fadiman is a psychologist in the South Bay who has a big microdosing project, and you can go online and he has a protocol, and you report to him on what's happening. But again, he's not administering it, and he's not doing any kind of control. So I'm really curious about it. Jury's out on whether it's real or not. But even if it's not real, you know.
Opinião própria, galera, eu acho que ele vai passar direto aqui, ó. Fazer assim, ó. Opinião própria. Né? 640, próximo ponto de venda agora. O mínimo que deixou de historinha aqui, acho que foi esse cara aqui, 655. Então eu vou mapeando as resistências, porque o trade que se desenha, na minha opinião, é a de compra aqui embaixo da região do 0,70. Eu acho que o 0,70 vai ser um bom ponto, certo? 0,70 ao 0,45 eu estou mapeando aqui como sendo a região interessante, né? Tem um dos setups que eu já estudei bastante, é o setup da banda de Bollinger quando ela fica paralela, né? Quando ela se movimenta na horizontal. Então, se eu trouxer para você os 5 minutos aqui, é essa região que eu estou olhando. Acho que é uma boa. Em um dos casos aqui, a gente tentar operar aqui, tá? Venda para mim 780, 670 está muito próximo do preço. Acho que não vale a pena vender, certo? Gostaria de ter visto o índice parar aqui. Não parou, né? Para quê? Porque aí eu tinha uma bela história aqui para dar uma migué, para sair dessa consolidação, fechar o gap, o que o China falou. Mas não, desce com candles fortes, certo? E para mim não tem compra em resistência de consolidação, só em suporte de consolidação. E o suporte está malemar aqui, certo? Bem forte aqui na segunda linha. Vou tentar olhar gatilhos aqui, vou tentar olhar gatilhos aqui. Todo esse espaço, não, para mim é venda, só que o stop está lá em cima agora, né? Então já não tá, o risco está aqui, para um retorno aqui já não está legal. Quem opera em abertura está fazendo muita grana, né? Mas eu não... Quer dizer, até opero abertura, como vocês viram eu tentar fazer um scalp ali. Mas, pô, eu não via venda ali necessariamente. Né? E agora não há compras, né? Não deu nem meia hora e o gap já está fechado já, né? Ou basicamente fechado, né? Próximo de ser fechado. Então é monitorar. Eu acho que tem essa simetria que vem para nos dar clareza, para não comprar, né? Só porque lançou um candle, que nem agora, por exemplo. Tem que provar mais do que isso para que eu queira comprar. Eu acho que é venda. Então vou deixar o 780 aqui como ponto de venda. Posso ver gatilhos vendedores no 780. Certo? E aí aqui no meio, para mim, não tem interesse nenhum a não ser scalp. Aqui pode ser um trade. Por quê? Pode ser que a gente venha, dê uma aliviada para os comprados e aí bal. Então aqui tem um risco retorno mais agradável. Certo, galera? Fora isso, eu não tenho nada para dizer para vocês.
I also do some stories there. I've been doing a lot of like sauna and body hacks lately on my stories feed. I'm just at Kevin Rose on Instagram, and you can follow me there. Last thing, if you're enjoying this episode and want to really help us out, head on over to iTunes and give us a 5-star review for the Kevin Rose Show. That'll get us recommended to more people, and we'll have better guests on the show. Thanks so much, and be well. Hey everybody, Kevin Rose here. This is not a normal episode of the Kevin Rose Show. This is something called The Random Show, which I've been doing for a long time with my buddy Tim Ferriss. We finally had a chance to get back together. Unfortunately, remotely, it wasn't in person, but it was still a lot of fun. So this is a show where we talk about all the random things that we're up to and into. I hope you enjoy. Hello, boys and girls, Mogwai and Gremlins. This is Tim Ferriss. If you're looking for perhaps some type of highbrow intellectual long-form conversation, you might want to go to tim.blog/podcast for one of my other long-form interviews. Oh, don't sell us short, dude. Come on. Hold on, Kevin. I haven't introduced you yet. But for those of you who enjoy the random helter-skelter, is that a right word? Nature. Well, I'm gonna run with it.
Notícias, acho saindo agora, tá, galera? Nos Estados Unidos lá, lembra que eu falei? Então dá uma esperadinha aí. Custa nada. 670, primeira resistência, depois 780. 780, talvez eu ligue os 144 ticks aí. Fazer alguma loucura.
We have not done a random show for a long time, but I'll let you do, if you want to do an introduction of the random show. I don't think we even need to anymore. I don't think we need to. We don't even know what episode we're on. Like, for those of you that have heard the random show before, I think we've done probably, if I had to guess, I'd say maybe 25 episodes? Something like that. 25 episodes. So we're episode 27, let's call it.
O cenário mais feio, mais terrível seria ele romper essa máxima aqui, só que parar no 45. Aí seria difícil operar. Mas, na minha opinião, ele deve parar ou aqui já, 670, ou nos 780. 600 é o primeiro suporte dessa subidinha aí. Agora.
Tim, you and I probably co-invested in maybe a dozen or so angel deals. Yeah, at least. Facebook together.
Dólar desabando, índice subindo.
Yeah, a bunch of them. Side note, you remember how ridiculed we all were when the consortium of techies and non-techies invested in Blue Bottle Coffee? Do you remember how much shit we got on the internet for that? Absolutely. They're like, why would Blue Bottle need to raise money? But it's done okay. Had a great exit here just about a month ago. It has done all right. It was a majority stake acquisition by Nestle for $700 million or so. So it worked out. Yeah, it worked out. So you've done very well as an investor. You are obsessed with many things Japanese.
Segurando aqui no 780. Não, 670. Nossa, muito louco.
Do you have anything new to add? Actually, you know what? I like this.
Se der sinal aí, dá pra entrar? Cara.
Because this is something I thought I would have put money on you never sticking with.
Daria. Vamos ver.
But you've actually now done a number of scheduled 5-day. Yeah, that's right. That's 5-day FMD. So
caraca, o dólar pesando, hein?
The reason why Tim, you and I are friends. I met you when you were launching your first book. On your boat party that you did. You rented out a warship in the San Francisco Bay. And the SS Jeremiah, where they recorded a lot of the boiler room audio for the James Cameron movie Titanic. Oh, crazy. In fact. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. But yeah, we hit it off because we both love all kinds of this idea of lifelong learning. I think has been a theme that you and I both enjoy.
Podemos tirar aqui.
You know, I've certainly got really into biohacking in the last couple of years. I've watched from afar you poke and prod yourself and squirt all kinds of different juices out of your elbow. You know, I mean, this requires a little bit of explanation. So, this is so gross. All right, but now I have to explain it. So, I had a botched PRP injection, which is platelet-rich plasma injection in my right elbow
and people can look up PRP. It actually has some fantastic applications, but there was a botched injection which pushed
Aonde o preço está agora no índice, putz, vejo nada. A não ser venda com stop acima dos 780. Certo, não colocaria stop aqui porque tem o 45, né, que é o ABCD aqui do gráfico de 15 minutos. Certo, então ele pode sacanear aqui a galera, estopar um pessoalzinho e voltar para completar esse cara aqui. Então, calma, assim, na minha opinião, acho que a melhor compra tá aqui. E venda, não seria uma venda legal, porque tem gap para fechar. Também não seria uma venda legal, tem gap para fechar. Então, trade bom mesmo está numa compra aqui.
It's always entertaining though, gotta say. Had a lot of fun doing stupid shit together. But yeah, speaking of well, probably not that dumb these days, but fasting. So I got into fasting here probably about 3 years ago, 2.5 3 years ago. I started fasting at Zero, which is a free fasting tracker. And so that has really kind of blown up and taken off. But then I started hearing about the research from Dr. Walter Longo. And so it actually was from a friend of mine, you know Mike Mazer, a mutual friend of ours.
Yeah.
And Mike was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. He went into chemotherapy treatment, and he was one of the guys that said, I'm just not going to, you know, just take what they give me, but I'm going to go out and do my own research and see what else I can be doing to help fight this and beat this down. And one of the things that came up was this idea of doing these 5-day FMDs. And the FMD stands for Fasting Mimetic Diet. And the idea is that compliance of doing a standard 5-day fast is relatively low because it's an extremely difficult thing to do. Tim, have you ever done a 5-day water-only fast?
Yeah, I've done 5, 7, and 10 day.
Okay, so I've done a 5-day water only, and I will tell you, it is absolutely brutal. I don't know what your experience was, but like, I had a really difficult time sleeping.
Yeah, there's I believe it's a cholinergic effect that leads you to have rapid heartbeat quite often.
Yes. When
you're trying to sleep, it's not pleasant. So you'll be exhausted, and you'll lay down in bed, and you'll feel like you just ran a 100-meter sprint in terms of heartbeat. It's very unpleasant.
Fica online até que horas, Jonathan? Eu fico até 11, cara. Até 11 horas eu tô aí com vocês. Tá.
They're completely benign, and I've had it looked at, and everything's fine. But I get those every once in a while, and those come more frequently when I'm in a fasted state. So, long story short, Mike does this 5-day fast. He beats back cancer. He's in full remission, which is awesome. But the idea with the 5-day fast is that...
Can I interrupt you one more time? And I think this, I don't think Mike would mind this, but I remember you and I, when we were talking about this, and did he do 5 or 3? I can't recall.
Oh, sorry, right, he did 3.
He did 3, but just for those who are curious, so I've had conversations with Dominic D'Agostino before on this podcast, very well-published researcher, and I was first introduced to the possibility that fasting prior to chemotherapy, I believe, and radiation, could be either, has the potential to increase the resilience of normal cells.
Torcer pro índice não ficar aí. Tá, eu quero ver o que vai acontecer aqui nos 780. Realmente quero ver. Pode ser interessantíssimo. Ver a reação do preço ali. Teria um alvo aí. Seguiria esse cara aqui. Foi bem limpa essa queda, ó. 400 pontos, então um alvo de 400 pontos. Interessante. Pode ser também um trade secundário, né, tendo problemas na região dos 365. Esse aqui não é nem... Não vou nem... Se ele descer agora eu deixo. Mas não seria um ponto muito legal para se entrar, não.
the cancer cells of some nutrients, certainly sugar, less glucose, and it makes them more susceptible to the chemotherapy treatment. So the chemotherapy is that much more effective.
Lá vai ele pro 780. 600 foi deixado como suporte, tá? Suporte 600.
And so they're also extending this whole protocol to healthy individuals as a way to potentially prevent cancer from even forming in the first place. So I was turned on to Dr. Walter Longo's new book, The Longevity Diet, and I had him on my podcast. Have you seen this book yet?
I have seen that. Yeah, I haven't read it, but I have seen it.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. So there's a whole chapter on his FMD protocol and what you need to do these 5-day fasts. And so I guess getting into what it actually is. So how it differs from a water-only fast is that you do have calories. So you have around
certo, queda de força se formando no 15 minutos. É perigoso para vendas, óbvio.
And some crackers, and you know the first day it's not so bad. You're like, oh, I can do this, like some crackers and a little bit of soup. And then day 2 and day 3, you're like, oh my God, I'm dying, right? But it's not nearly as bad as water only. But the idea is that you eat just enough food to still get into this fasted state. So all the inflammation markers, all the
beleza, galera, toca na região. Então, se tiver alguma venda aí, pode acender o sinal para mim de que pode ter se formado um topo. Certo. Vamos esperar um gatilho aqui.
Or does the small amount of carbohydrate and so on that you're consuming keep you out of ketosis?
I get a mild, I would say I get around 0.5 or so millimolars. So it's like a very mild.
Right on the edge.
Right, which is kind of brutal because you're kind of in the keto flu symptom area.
Yeah.
And so you're not fully into ketosis. Well, this is really interesting because so Peter Attia, who you had on the show a few times, he's my doctor and I know you work with him as well. And we've kind of like played around with this protocol in that Attia has put together an FMD diet that is a lot more ketogenic friendly, so a lot heavier on the fats and a lot less on the refined carbohydrates. So for example, when you're doing Longo's version of this diet, and he actually has a nonprofit called Prolon, so you'd actually just order this kit. So I get a kit in the mail that has all the prepackaged food. If you're watching the video version of this is what it looks like here. As happened to have one of them. This is like day 5 or day 5.
What do they do? Yeah. What does the nonprofit do with the money that they get? Because it looks very
back into research.
It goes back into research.
That's right. And Longo doesn't receive any of the money at all. He doesn't take a salary.
Então se tirar esse fundinho aqui, pode ser tirou. Pode ser um sinal.
Generate new stem cells, which is proven actually happens via this 5-day method. And so the thing that hooked me though is I have had elevated cholesterol on my whole father's side of the family, and that's turned into heart disease with my dad and him passing away from a heart attack. My grandpa passed away from a heart attack. My grandma on my dad's side passed away from a heart attack. So like it's running deep.
Realmente, galera, não deu gatilho, pelo menos não ainda. Mas essa região aí, muito cuidado, tá? Muito cuidado que eu digo para compra. Aqui 300 de loss, 600 de gain. Seria uma meta semanal razoável para iniciante? Cara, esqueça pontos, na minha opinião, como meta. É dinheiro. Porque pontos, se você girar uma enormidade, você não compra nada com pontos. Então pense em grana, pense naquela grana que se satisfaz no final do mês, que é isso que eu faço. Eu não tenho meta diária, porque faz 2 semanas, por exemplo, que não rola trade decente pra mim. Porque eu sou um cara muito mais longo período do que day trade. Então vai muito do seu perfil, mas pense naquele final do mês, na minha opinião, vou dar essa opinião pra você, o que você gostaria de ter. Galera, é aí, tá? Vamos ver se temos algum tipo de gatilho. Tentarei. Alguma coisinha por aí. Certo? Nessa região pode haver venda.
So he was shocked and he was blown away. And so we're pretty happy with the results. We'll see how long they stick. And this is no dietary changes. This is just
780 aqui, tem um clusterzinho bem pequenininho. Certo, vou tentar mais uma vendinha aqui.
I like that he was so specific with 90. That's lower than I would have expected. So it must be all the meth that you're doing that's going to kill you.
Yeah, I mean, I still do a dose of meth every now and then. But no, actually, speaking of meth, dude, I just did some L-theanine for the first time today.
Yeah.
Have you tried this with coffee?
It is very interesting stuff, to be sure.
Oh my god, dude, I'd never tried it before. I took a pill of it. I took 200 milligrams this morning.
600 é suporte, hein, galera. Cuidado aí.
And we were like cracked out for like 3 hours, man.
Yeah, so this observing of the biohacking is a mutual arrangement that Kevin and I have. It's not just him watching me squirting fluid out of my elbow. I also observe things that you do. Now, on the FMD, though, just to return to that for a second, you mentioned in passing that Atia had looked at the possibility of doing a lower carbohydrate, higher fat.
Muito bem, galera. Estão especulando contra a tendência aí, tá?
Have you tried it? I did. Yeah, I did that for the second one, and it was. I liked it. Actually, I just happened to buy a 3-pack of the Prolong kits. I wanted to go through them and use them because they're not cheap, and so I just used that for the last one. But I like Atia's in that it's a little bit more work, obviously, because you're preparing your own food. But it's largely like his is different in that.
Nada feito aí. Gostaria de ver uma parada do preço aqui, tá?
Throughout the entire day. With his, it's 1 meal a day. And it's just a salad. It's like greens and 3 tablespoons or 4 tablespoons of olive oil and 6 olives and some sunflower seeds. Like it's not a whole lot, but it certainly is gives you, it's not as refined, and so I saw my ketone levels go up on his versus, and I think I had certainly more energy on his versus the Prolong.
Got it. Well, I'll ping Peter about that. It makes sense that you would, on multiple levels, that you would have higher ketone levels. And for people who are wondering how one would measure ketone levels, I think you and I still use the same device, which is the Precision Extra XTRA by Abbott Labs, which does a sufficient job in measuring something called BHB, beta-hydroxybutyrate, in the blood for a number of different reasons. This is a much more precise and accurate, well, let's just call it precise, but consistently precise, maybe it's accurate, maybe it isn't, method of measuring ketones, or whether the degree to which you're in ketosis then pee sticks. Because as your body becomes, or if you're already very efficient at using ketone bodies, you could show a false negative where you pee on the stick, it tells you you're not in ketosis when in fact you are. So the blood is just more accurate. Well, I'm glad you're going to live to 90. That makes me happy.
Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty cool experiment, and certainly for someone that has heart disease running their family, I'm going to keep it up. I'm going to do another blood draw here next week to see where my levels are at, and then try and do this quarterly. And hopefully, if we can get it down to where I won't be using statins any longer, that'd be great.
The last time we did a random show, it was a very, very long time ago, I believe. It was at least before you had a little monkey in your house. And
yes.
A reason, and many reasons, of course, to stick around, but now a very compelling new reason. So what is it, how would you describe, since certainly I have no kids that I'm aware of at this point.
That's a good disclaimer there.
Yeah, just, that I don't have kids, asterisks that I know of. What have been the biggest changes that you've felt or observed in yourself or otherwise, how you view the world, anything like that, now that you have a kid? And, what is your kid's name? I know you.
Yeah, Zelda. She's 4 months old, and she's named after the video game because one of the first things that my wife and I bonded on very early on in our relationship was our love for the game Zelda. And actually, the new Zelda game allows you to track your hours played. It actually shows it in the little settings menu. And so Daria has over 200 hours played of the latest Zelda. So she's hardcore. She played it a lot during her pregnancy.
She's a true believer. And when we were in Japan a long time ago, Daria was using some type of emulator. I don't know what device it was on exactly, but she was playing Zelda on all the trains when we were sitting down and chilling. That's one.
Yeah, like the original. Yeah, Josh Cook was too.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's fun to play the original ones with those old school emulators. But yeah, so in terms of her, I mean, it's hard for, I think, a guy in that when you first have your first child, it's like there's not a whole lot to do. There's just like a lot of crying, and so I tried to help out where I can, but it's really like on the hip of mom she was for the first several weeks, and just there's a lot of getting used to new things. And then now it's just amazing. If you walk into a room and she lights up when she sees me for the first time, she smiles and giggles, and it kind of changes the way that I want to approach life in terms of what things are important and trying to make more time to be a good father. And so for someone like myself that has so many varying interests and certainly can get sucked into new things pretty easily, I've been trying to be a little more thoughtful about where and when I spend my energy, so that I can kind of dial back. So I've spent a good portion of this year trying to live a little bit more minimalist lifestyle.
What are some of the steps that you've taken to do that?
Well, one of the things
I feel like you and I have had this conversation every year since we first met, but now you actually have a gigantic incentive to follow through.
Well, it's funny, every time Tim and I get together, it's just like, oh man, I've got too many investments, I'm doing this, there's too many things going on, and I got to spend my time here. We're always like more or less complaining to each other of just taking on too many things. Even it's so ridiculous. So I've just been trying to implement a few rules. So one of the things I did starting January 1st was to throw away or donate something every single day. And so I have forced myself to go in, and so for example, a few days ago I went in and I just picked out all the clothes that I haven't touched in a year, and I took them down the street, like a half a block away is a donation place, and I donated anything that I hadn't worn in a year, and it really thins out your closet. And I've been doing that.
Was that easy for you to do, or did you have it?
Absolutely.
It was. There was no resistance. You were like, but that's the sweater that my Auntie Janie gave me. And
no, I mean, who's the lady you had in your podcast that wrote that book on
Marie Kondo?
Yes.
Technically, Marie Kondo is how they would say it in Japanese, but Marie Kondo. Yeah.
Marie Kondo, yeah, she's awesome. So I listened to her audiobook, and one of the things that she says in her audiobook is that the way that you can depart with something is to realize that it has already taught you its lesson. And that lesson may be that it wasn't for you, right? So if you have it hanging in your closet and you look at it and you're like, oh, but someday I might. No, the lesson is that it spent its time with you, it wasn't for you, and it should go to a good home or can be appreciated by someone else. And so my lesson is not to buy it again. And so I took that and I've applied that to thinning out pretty much everything in my life. And so every single day, I think that a lot of people, there's this analysis paralysis thing where you think about cleaning out the garage, or you think about doing this massive overhaul in your life, and you're like, oh, it's the weekend, I got to do this, and there's always something that jumps in front of it in terms of priorities. For me, it's like, I find that if I just
Galera, consolidou ainda, não tá querendo me dar muita esperança de um belo trade. Mas meu alvo tá lá, 400. Vamos ver se ele chega até lá, né?
And is it bringing joy to my life? I think is such a good forcing function to get rid of a lot of stuff. And everything that you get rid of is actually less of a mental load on you. There was this old tea master that I met one time, and Tim and I have done some crazy travels all throughout China, in tea lands. But there was this one guy I met.
The stories we could tell.
Yeah, seriously, we've done some crazy stuff in the middle of the Yunnan province. Nothing sexual. So, that was our friend.
Yeah, right.
we had a friend that did something. So long story short, the one thing that this tea master showed me is he pulled out of his pocket one key, and he showed me the one key, and he goes, "Kevin, do you know what this is?" And I was like, it's a key, and he's like, "Yeah, it's the key to my house. This is my one key." He's like, "I've worked my entire life to have one key." because we can all have multiple keys, you know, meaning like the things that you purchase, whether you have a key to your boat or your spare garage or another, you know, a motorcycle or whatever it may be. There's things in your life that you accumulate, and the least amount of burden and the most happiness you can get is like having less stuff to worry about. And so I find that to be really true. And so that's what I've been trying to focus on is just having less and being happy with a very handful of high quality things.
I also want to mention that it's possible to read a book like Marie Kondo's book, which I can never remember the title of, because I want to say it's like The Magic Art of Japanese Tidying Up, and it's like, no, it's something close. It's like the art of, the joy of magic cleaning up. I can never remember the exact phrasing, I don't know why, but in any case, that cult following with her book leads some readers to think it's an all or nothing, take it or leave it approach. So you, on the other hand, have philosophically found bits and pieces of that book that are very useful to you, but are tactically actually doing the opposite of what she recommends, but it works for you. So she recommends doing this like once in a lifetime tidying Super Bowl, basically, where you block out 2 or 3 days of your life, and that's what you do, and then the rest is maintenance. It's kind of like the fast mimicking diet of Japanese tidying, right? You have this loading phase. And I've had this book, I actually am looking at it on my bookshelf right now for like 2 years. And I'm just like, man, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. And then I'm like 2 to 3 days, I look at my calendar, I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do it. I'm just not gonna do it. So I like the idea tactically of one at a time, one per day. And also what's helped me, because I had actually been, since I moved to Austin not too long ago, it's been a great opportunity after boxing everything up. It's like, okay, do I really want to unbox all this stuff, or do I just want to donate a lot of this, because it might be from a 1 to 10 scale of value, a 2 to me, or maybe a 1, maybe a 3, but I could donate this very easily to Goodwill or somewhere else, to say a high school gym that needs equipment, which is something I've done in the past, and it's an immediate 8, 9, or 10. It's just a better. It's a nice karmic chess move to donate, and you think of not what you're losing, but also what you're giving to someone else in that respect, which I find really helpful. So you're giving away 1 item per day.
The other thing too, I will tell you along those lines, is that if there is a purchase that I want to make that is not just what I would consider to be a necessity, like toilet paper or whatever it may be, and it's something that is luxury, or not luxury, but in the sense of like, it's going to cost you over $100, and I don't necessarily need it, but I kind of want to try it. You can, what I do is I save for later on Amazon, so you can add and say save for later, and set a reminder in your calendar app for a week or 2 weeks later, and almost 90% of the time I end up not buying that thing. I still have one thing in there actually from you. It's that NAC supplement.
Yeah.
Should I buy that?
And
it's not decided yet.
Well, NAC. So this is, I should say, with all of this stuff that we're discussing, because it bears repeating, we are not doctors. We don't play them on the internet. So everybody should assume that at least 50% of what we're saying is complete fucking nonsense, and we are just not sure which 50% it is. So work with a qualified professional before you start taking or stopping any type of medication or supplement. The NAC came to me initially because I was looking at it as a means to accelerate recovery between workouts. And my understanding, I might be getting this wrong, but is that it is a precursor to...
Você opera só B3 ou outros mercados? Opera o Forex também. Ah, Jonathan, desculpa, velho. Tá tão sono esse índice aí que só olhei agora. Opera o Forex também, cara.
What I noticed in taking the NAC is that I was, over the period of a week to 10 days, perhaps 7, 8 days into it, that I was more even-keeled than was typical. I felt like the week had been very smooth, and I hadn't changed anything else that I could identify. I'd been either meditating or not meditating for a series of weeks. There were a lot of constants. And when I went onto PubMed and began to look at N-acetylcysteine and search for other terms like depression or bipolar and so on, there were a number of search results that popped up that seemed to indicate to me that there was some promise in using NAC to mitigate the amplitude of the ups and downs that could be associated with, say, bipolar. And that's the primary reason that for periods of time, and I cycle off of all of these things, I become very fascinated by...
Vai abrir os papéis aí, galera. Cuidado com uma volatilidade aí. Como o índice abriu em alta, os papéis devem abrir em alta também. Deve ser estopado ali, tá? Só deixei meu stop acima dos 750 pela simetria ali. Eu não quis, de repente, ser estopado para ver o negócio cair. Se me estopar no preço ali, tudo bem. Tentei. Isso não necessariamente quer dizer que a venda está cancelada. É só que eu não quero passar o risco ali de, sei lá, R$10. Certo? Para mim, o verdadeiro suporte dessa subida está no 600. Tá? Entre os 670, que já tocou ali, né? Ficou muito próximo, aos 600, né? Que é esse movimento aqui, ó. Se eu acertei na minha venda, tem que vir no mínimo aqui. Tá? Aqui é um alvo bacana, super bacana, legal pra caramba, mas não sei se ele vai chegar até lá.
Because people have this impression after reading the 4-hour body and so on that I'm just like I walk around with a drip IV bag in my arm and have 1,000 pills I'm taking 4 times a day.
Well, I've certainly seen you in that
mode.
You've
seen that. No, you have seen me in that mode, but my mode right now is to really ensure that I'm using supplements as supplements. And that I'm not using them to absolve me of the responsibility to eat proper food, for instance. And it's like, look, if you're drinking a lot and you're like compulsively watching porn and not exercising and like mainlining pixie sticks for your diet, and you're like, wow, I'm depressed, maybe I should take 15 different supplements. It's like, no, you need to fucking fix the rest of your life. Right. And then see what your baseline is, because you're creating so much static and noise and garbage inputs that you don't even know what your baseline is. It's so disguised with sort of the trauma and confusion of your inputs that you need to...
Do you track your baseline? Like, do you log what you consume and what you take?
I log, you know, my baseline, this is going to sound so primitive, and it is, but my baseline is really, how do I feel when I wake up? You know, do I want to stay in bed because I don't want to face the day? Am I anxious? Are those my first thoughts coming out of bed? Assuming that I'm not checking my phone, right? Because it's really my starting state out of the gate of sleep to wakefulness. And then at night, how much trouble do I have sleeping, if any? Or do I fall asleep easily? How deep is my sleep? And so for deepness of sleep, you could certainly use something like an Oura ring or an accelerometer. I mean, there are different means by which you could try to assess the quality of your sleep. But for me, really looking at how consistently I feel good waking up and how long it takes me to get up to, say, first or second gear. Because it historically has taken me a long time to go from park to like second or third gear. Some people wake up, you might be one of these people, and they're like, fuck it world, here I am, I'm ready to party. That's not me. It's like I have a real slow build. And
I think I'm in between you and that. I'm definitely not ready to party the second I wake up. Yeah. I'm after coffee. I have a cup of coffee, I'm ready to party.
So I feel that way if, for instance, I'm in ketosis past about 2 millimolars. I need less sleep, so let's call it 6 versus 8 hours. And when I wake up, I'm awake, versus feeling groggy for an hour to hour and a half, which can be remedied somewhat by the psychological advantage of exercising in the morning, which is one thing I've been scheduling to do more of per Jocko Willink, retired Navy SEAL commander and all-around intense, accomplished guy. People can find him, tim.blog/Jocko, first ever public interview. So I'm thrilled to have unleashed the giant white gorilla on the internet. And baseline, though, to return to your question, is really something I try to keep as simple as possible. Have I measured all those other things? Yes. But I think that whether it's with your body or with a business or any number of other things, it's really easy to become addicted to measuring things that don't matter very much. Or worse still, measuring things that will distract you from the things that do matter.
Galera, agora eu vou fugir da abertura. Só vou pôr no zero aqui a minha conta do dia. Tá, então tá aqui. Bom. Lembrando que se vier me estopar, tem mais uma venda no 780, tá? Vamos ver se eu pego um começo de tendência aí, né? Seria muito legal.
And then I do what type of workout, whether I had tea or coffee that day, and then my food. But food not in terms of kind of a by the calorie, you know,
600 é um problema, tá?
Really just typing out what I ate for that day as a way to hold myself accountable and just like look over the last few days at a glance and see if I've been behaving or not. So I find that just the act of writing it down makes me behave a little bit better.
It does. Okay, that was going to be my question. Is how does that actually impact your behavior?
Yeah, this is a fascinating question. I did an experiment here about 3 weeks ago with a group of 5 friends, and I asked them all. I created this spreadsheet that we all logged into every single day, and what you do is you record the number of drinks you had the night before. And I was thinking about turning this into an app, although I'm not going to do it, but I was interested in trying to create social pressure.
Cuidado aí, galera.
To drink more, but to drink less.
Agora é região de suporte.
Is that if you drink over 2 drinks in a night, people have some shame in reporting that, and so they will misreport. And so, if you went out and you had like 4 or 5 drinks, it's like, oh, I don't want to be the guy that had
the one asshole in the spreadsheet.
Right, exactly.
Então agora o pullback a ser monitorado é o mesmo aqui, tá? Então meu stop vai estar sempre abaixo dele. Sempre acima, perdão, não abaixo.
So my idea was to create an app that would allow you just to say up to 2+, and see all of your friends in the same arena, and then kind of hopefully encourage you to be able to drink socially but not take it too far.
Yeah, this brings up all sorts of really fascinating and frustrating methodological questions in terms of designing this type of reporting, right? Because I was thinking to myself as you were saying this, well, if you had a larger group, say a group of 200 people, you would have, one would expect, you would have more people in that group reporting drinking 2, 3, 4 drinks on any given night.
Right.
So the shame factor would be decreased, but if you decrease the shame factor, that also decrease the incentive to actually behave, right? Because you can blend into this perceived acceptability of being like, well, there were 10 other people out of 200 who had 4 drinks last night, that's totally fine.
Well, the question is, like, how well do you know the people, one, so how tight are they in your, like, kind of social connections in your peer group, and then also, I think that there is, when I, like, Brendan Mulligan, I'll call him out, because he's a friend of ours.
Muito bem, galera, aí é suporte. Cuidado.
He's like, one drink, like one drink every 4 days or whatever. And seeing him hit those streaks of, like, 0 drinks, that was also a pretty powerful thing, and I'm saying, I need to be more like Brendan, I need to dial it back. So it goes both ways.
Yeah, that's true. I suppose if you're seeing friends of yours
doing well,
who have demanding jobs,
vamos ver como que se comporta o preço ali.
You can't use that as your excuse when you have the data right in front of you showing that they're actually behaving. So you historically have been a non-trivial drinker, let's call it. It's like a minor league all-star of booze consumption.
I used to drink a lot more, to be honest. So you can see my spreadsheet here.
So what has helped you most to decrease the amount that you drink?
Well, I think there is fear. I've seen a bunch of studies. There was one that was just published here a couple weeks ago that said the number one, the largest study ever around dementia and alcohol abuse, and they're very closely linked, which is really frightening. And I think just, wanting to live longer for my daughter has been another one, back to the point that you had
Muito bem.
earlier about what has changed.
Cuidado aí. Tá, galera? Não sei se tá tendo notícia, mas aí é região de compra realmente. Só tô escondendo aqui o meu stop do próprio simetria, tá?
Set aside time to learn at night, which I think is really important, and you really can't drink and learn at the same time. So, or remember what you attempt to learn.
Que candle horrível pros comprados, tá? Bem horrível mesmo. Então, já vou colocando meu stop acima aqui da simetria.
And just finding ways to, it's like, it's always been about, I'm with my wife, I'm sitting down, and we're going to crack open a bottle of wine, and I'll have a couple glasses of wine. It's never been like, hey, let's go party. Those days are long gone.
Então, tô só monitorando esse cara aqui, ó. Se não passar dele, a gente continua descendo aí. Formas tortas, esquisitas, né? Mas continua descendo.
You and I hang is like when we're traveling together, so you can't put that on me. That's true. All right, fair enough. We're in different cities now. I will say for those people who are like, wait, they can see each other. We are doing.
Se romper aqui para baixo, meu stop vai acima dos 600. Aí não quero ver ele para cima dos 600.
YouTube channel, just youtube.com/Tim Ferriss, 2R's and Kevin is dressed for success. I will note. He is. I just had a park meeting this morning, so we dressed up a little bit. No, I appreciate it. So I gave you that look. Traveling's a bit of.
Muito bem, galera. Passou. Então, tá aqui, ó. Por quê? Porque meu resultado, ó, para ser mais exato, 630. Porque o meu alvo já foi tocado. Agora eu tô querendo algo a mais do mercado.
I end up traveling so much. If I allowed myself that out, it would become a real problem. Yeah, traveling is difficult, and especially when it's in kind of a social setting. You know, if you combine traveling with social, like, you know, I'll be going to TED in a couple weeks, and I know that there's just going to be a lot of parties and a lot of events and a lot of drinking. So,
então continua meu stop sempre acima aqui da simetria.
I have a hard time dealing with like large groups of people that I don't know, and as a social lubricant, alcohol is amazing, right? So it's like, what else can we do? And I think that someone was telling me this, that you know, you never really strengthen that muscle like if you're leaning on the crutch of alcohol. So you're never going to become more comfortable with new humans and new interactions and new ways of like kind of breaking the ice if you always just go to the booze, right? So I think of it as like,
beleza, posso ir descendo meu stop.
And the other thing I do is I got a couple little hacks. One is to show up a little bit late, so then you skip a drink, right? And it's funny how if you skip a drink or two and you get there and people are already a little hammered, how unattractive and unappealing drinking then becomes. Because you look at it and it's like, hey, it's good to see you. You know, it's like a little bit sloppy, and and you look at that and you're like, okay, they're relaxed. They're not gonna like, you know, remember what I said.
Então, galera, o trade do dia, na minha opinião, é essa compra aqui, ó. Essa compra, se ela acontecer hoje, ela vai ser muito legal, porque aí nós temos um pseudo 2 que faltou 10 pontos aqui, né? E aí vamos vir pro terceiro aqui, ó. E promete. Então, a região dos 70, do 0,45, certo? A gente junta aqui Price Action, ó. Opa. A gente junta Price Action aqui, ó. Topo, topo, suporte, suporte, suporte. Acho eu. Então, esse é o trade do dia. Certo? Seria legal se ele tivesse já aqui, né? De manhã. À tarde ninguém tá operando. Pelo menos não eu. Mas ó, a gente vai ter aqui já completo. A gente vai ter uma super, provavelmente FR. E a banda de Bollinger, ela tá ficando flat. Quando a banda de Bollinger fica flat, é igual aqui, ó. É igual aqui. Certo? Um pouco daqui. Certo? Um pouco daqui. Então, quando a banda de Bollinger, ela tá, em vez de estar tendencial, né, ela tá assim, ó, e o preço vem aqui, putz, esse ponto aqui geralmente dá um bounce bem bom, tá bom? Ok, então eu tenho aqui, vou continuar com o meu stop ali ainda, tá? Vamos ver se a gente desce mais um pouquinho.
Actually, a couple of other points, because I've been also cutting back on alcohol quite a bit. I still enjoy alcohol, not gonna lie. Like, I do have booze on occasion.
I love your drunk, like,
Oh, the drunk dials?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, those are fun. So for those who don't know, occasionally I do these drunk dial episodes where I will, it's the laziest podcast format thought up, I think, to date, perhaps, which is I have listeners fill out a Google form with their contact info, and I set a time, like a 2-hour window, where I will call people via Skype and start drinking at call 1 and drink all the way through to, say, call 10, and get progressively more.
Muito bem, galera. O preço me tira um scalpzinho aí, bem curtinho. Aqui eu não quero negociar, né? Talvez até eu coloque um alarme para ficar de olho na região que eu mostrei para vocês. Para mim é a região mais interessante do dia, é a região que dá para você operar de mão um pouco maior, porque é um ponto de 60, né? Então se a gente estudar o 60 aqui, a gente fez um scalp no meio do nada, que não é legal para ninguém fazer scalp no meio do nada. Aqui já é o suporte que eu falei para vocês, né? Então aqui já tem história, 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 e pode ter mais uma vez aqui. E como eu falei, a gente usando o Fibonacci, nós tivemos essa ABCD quase completo no 0,45 e vamos ter de novo a partir daqui, né? A partir dessa linha amarela. Então a gente vai lá para a região dos 400. Interessante. Tá bom? Agora eu acho que vai consolidar, conhecendo o índice nos últimos dias, né? O que não é legal para ninguém. Já fechamos o gap. Ou pelo menos não fechamos o gap, mas estamos próximo. Oh, cadê meu gráfico? Ah, tá aqui. Voltou. Então agora, essa região dos 680 é venda. 695, 680. Todos para mim são vendas.
As your default go-to, and you know, one thing that I do, it's going to sound really odd, and it is odd.
Certo, galera, eu vou lavar minha cafeteira aqui rapidão. Já volto.
Right? Clinking glasses when I don't have any alcohol in my glass.
Oh, interesting. This is your tell.
This is something. Well, it's kind of a tell, but what I'll do is I will sometimes also go up to the bar and I'll say, just give me a tiny splash. Like the equivalent amount that would be in a thimble or something like that, and then I'll cut myself off at that, and that's the amount that I allow myself. That's another approach that I take to cut back on the booze. You mentioned though that you've been trying to learn at night, and that the booze is not conducive to learning at night. What are you trying to learn at night? What types of things? And what's the format? Are you reading 100 pages a night, or what is it?
Honestly, have you heard of this Coursera course called Learning How to Learn?
I have not. Who teaches it?
Oh, so it's done by a couple professors, and I'm actually in the middle of that right now. It was another kind of biohacker recommended it to me. Yeah, apparently it's the #1 watched course on Coursera right now, and it's just been fascinating how they dig into the science of learning and like how you go in this kind of like focused or diffuse mode, and how to really go in and concentrate on something, and when the optimal time is to learn. And it's all the science around learning.
Oh, sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm just getting started with it. So that's what I've been diving into and kind of spending my nights watching those videos. But it talks about the importance of actually getting away from your material. So like getting really focused and setting a timer for 25 minutes maximum, going really in depth on the course material, and then backing away and kind of going into this more relaxed mode. They were talking about how was it Benjamin Franklin? I can't remember who it was that used to hold a pair of keys in their hand, and then kind of, and Salvador Dali did this as well actually. Hold a pair of keys in your hand, you kind of just go into this relaxed state, thinking about what you want to learn, and to where you almost fall asleep, and when you drop the keys out of your hand and it wakes you up, that's when you kind of go back and then you realize you were successful at getting that relaxed, and you'll retain and become more creative. And I don't know, it's just fascinating stuff. And so I'm just getting started with the course. It's free.
Very cool. Yeah, the intervals and the duration of intervals for learning along with break periods is something that I've experimented a lot with as it relates to language learning, because it's so measurable. You can look at, say, your recall of foreign vocabulary, assuming you're controlling for a few different variables, right? So adjectives are generally going to be harder than nouns, for instance, but if you're controlling for that, you can look at what your retention is, say 48 hours later, for 100 words you attempted to learn in one session versus 2 sessions versus 3 sessions with different types of breaks. And I did that when I was looking at a few different languages, specifically over 2004, 2005. Actually, I've never shown you these notes. I have text-to-edit documents with all of my notes on language learning for about a year-long period, looking at all of this type of stuff. And there were some very clear patterns, such as focusing on the material right before bed, right, with no interruption. So much like how it's recommended by many names, both you and I know, that you meditate first thing in the morning, before you brush your teeth, before you check your phone, before anything else. When you have this tabula rasa, blank state of sorts, focusing on material that you want to.
Opa, voltei. Aí pra mim, região de venda também, tá?
At least in my experience, dramatically improves recall. And then this is actually very important, not just doing that, but when you wake up, before doing anything else, which for me would override meditation, doing a recall exercise of some type. I tend to use flashcards to determine which have stuck and which have not. So those that have not, since I'm looking at language, I would give myself like a quarter of a second. It couldn't be delayed, because in speech you're not going to have the luxury of sitting there pause for long periods of time. It would go back into the rotation for review again throughout that day and later that night. But that has proven really, really helpful.
How about exercise? One of the things they mentioned in this course is this idea of doing cardiovascular exercise. I believe it's post learning something new, and apparently this science was saying that it just sticks that much more. I don't have any numbers in front of me, but it was something along. Have you heard anything about that?
So I
Aqui, papapá. Bruno, desculpa, mas você poderia fazer uns podcasts sobre livros? Eu recebi o Mercadantes da Noite ontem, falar mais sobre preço médio, daqui a Milão comenta, ou trazer lá de novo. Ah, beleza, cara, pode deixar, anotado.
Would point to things like BDNF, the release of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which can be elicited through different types of exercise. And part of me thinks that when one says, because these are the easiest,
vou especular uma venda. Opa! Vou especular uma venda um pouco maior agora, tá, galera?
This is where it comes down to trying to become literate with reading scientific studies or understanding how things.
Tá, lá no alvo de 400.
Scientific studies usually use volunteer populations known as students. And those students have 45-minute class blocks or 60-minute class blocks. So to keep those students busy, people are very often disincentivized from using shorter duration, say, high-intensity training or something like that, weightlifting, for instance, resistance training. And if you want to, as an experimenter, design something that requires as little monitoring as possible, it's like, all right, stick them on a stationary bike. Right? If you have people doing burpees or deadlifts, like you actually need to.
I hate burpees.
Yeah, but you need to pay attention, right? You need to pay attention if people are lifting weights and so on. There are more safety concerns. So I think that, and just to point out perhaps the obvious, that
tá, foi o primeiro. Nossa! Travou meu. Vocês estão me escutando ainda? Será que foi minha internet que caiu? Muito bem, galera. Mesma venda do primeiro trade, eu fiz no segundo, tá? Então, o que eu quero dizer? Qual a importância de você utilizar a simetria tanto para alvos como para definir região de negociação, tá? Veja que, pô, eu fiz meu trailing stop do primeiro trade utilizando esse cara aqui, ó. Certo? Ele repetiu 3 vezes. E aí de repente veio pro vermelho aqui, ó. E ó, exatamente. E me deu confiança para operar aqui nesse rompimento e vamos que vamos. Certo? Então um risco muito pequenininho. Tá andando bem mais. Aqui já é uma região onde quero estar fora do mercado. E a gente tem a nossa região bala, certo? Se aproximando. 0,70, 145. Então, calma. Pode ser um belo trade, um belo dia. Certo? Essa região entre os 145 até o 0,70. Tá bom? O que eu tenho agora? Eu tenho já uma estrutura de 5 minutos feita e completa. Então não tem por que vender aí. Então, bom, 280 tá fechadinha. Esse ABCD. Esse cara aqui a gente já pode apagar. Esse cara aqui também já apagamos, fechamos o gap. E vamos ter atenção aqui, ó, naquele cenário. Esse ponto aqui. Um pouco de paciência, tomara que dê aqui umas 11 horas ainda pra gente ver o que vai acontecer aqui. Tô bem curioso. Certo? Eu chuto chuto que teremos 1, 2 e 3 a partir daqui. Certo? E pra mim não há vendas agora. Não tem como, a não ser que você tenha um super stop, tá? Então 600 já não é mais nada. Tá, esses caras continuam. Então os estudos ali que deram a minha entrada continuam, porque eles são resistências, certo? E agora eu quero ver essa região dos 0,70 ser testada. Acho muito boa essa região.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of crazy. I thanks to you, got hooked up with him and went down and got a chance to meet him and hang out with him. I think that Tony is this kind of he's proven himself now that he's been doing this.
E o dólar acaba de bater na região de venda. Eu até pus de rosa, lembram? Acabou de bater lá. Só que o dólar é diferente. Vejam como a banda de Bollinger, ela tá já se abrindo. Ela não tá que nem aqui, ó, flat. Aqui, ó, flat. Certo? Provavelmente ali embaixo também. Então não vejo venda aqui tão fácil. Mas é uma resistência. Tá, uma belíssima resistência. Se nós pegarmos esse fluxo inteiro aqui e repeti-lo a partir daqui, dá exatamente nessa região. Então, para mim, o dólar está vendido aí, não está comprado. Observar num minuto aí algum movimento, certo, que nos dê essa venda. Usaria esse cara como gatilho. Então, para baixo do 7,4 é o sinal no toque do 7,4 de baixo para cima, ou no toque de algum dado que ele nos dê aqui, seria o gatilho. Tá, então vou até acompanhar o dólar, já que está próximo das 10h30. Abriu o mercado. Cuidado aí, galera. 3 minutinhos.
I went in there and day one was awesome. I mean, Tony got out there and he spoke for like, I don't know, 12 hours. We were there.
Yeah, he's complete mutant. Yeah, it's unbelievable.
I don't even know when he pees.
Yeah.
Like, I have no idea when he uses the bathroom.
Or drinks water. Yeah, just...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a machine. The guy's a
He's
machine.
a machine. You know, I walked over the coals with him, and he was like, "Bring out some fresh coals for Kevin." And of course, they put like fresh. You actually walk over coals at the end of the night. You've done this, right?
I have, yeah.
Did he bring out fresh coals for you?
I can't recall if he brought out fresh coals for me. I think that might have been the VIP treatment that you received.
It was a lot of fun, and I think that the biggest takeaway for me
355, 365, resistência, tá? Para essa subidinha aí, pré-mercado gringo.
I'm sure I did. I'm sure I did. And I should also point out that for the attendees of these events, and I have a little bit more to say about this, but the exercises that really, and there are very tactical prescriptive exercises, but that the exercises that change someone else's trajectory and give them extremely concrete next steps that have an impact are very often completely different exercises from those that affect the person right next to you. Mm-hmm. It's really something to behold. But tell us about the Wheel of Life.
Yeah, so the Wheel of Life was interesting in that basically he gives you these areas of your life, and you're to rank them from 0 to 10 on how far along and how kind of just happy you are with those areas.
Minutinho para abrir aí, tá, galera? Cuidado aí. Paciência, espera um pouquinho, esperou até agora. Se não tiver posicionado, espera mais um pouquinho. Aí é resistência, né? Temos 2 ABCDs terminando aí, ó. Então aí é venda, não é compra. Mesmo sendo abertura e tudo mais, ponta de venda.
It's like kind of lopsided, but that's by design. By the time you look at this, it gives you a clear view of like, okay, I really need to step out how I contribute and give back. And so that allowed me to go really.
Então, galera, o dólar deu o sinal. Tá, então o dólar deu o sinal de venda, certo? Já ultrapassou o pullback anterior, ótimo. Então tem mais vendedores dispostos a vender do que antes. Sinceramente, eu vejo algo assim para o dólar agora. Então, 53 aqui. O que eu quero ver? Quero ver ele realmente fazer o que ele está fazendo. E aí a gente vai tentar. De cara, eu tenho o 77 aqui para se vender. Tá, 77 para se vender. E o índice, se eu fosse chutar, mais uma quedinha para ele, mas a última. Acho que vai ser a última. O índice tem a possibilidade aqui de fazer esse cara 540, certo? E aí eu diria que ele vem, faz e vem mais um, e essa é a nossa região, certo? Essa é a nossa região, para mim, a melhor para a gente fazer isso aqui, ó. Blau. O setup tá feito, vamos ver se vai ter gatilho. Pro dólar, qual que é o ticker do dólar? É o IDOV ou IDOU? Acho que é o IDOU, né? Nossa. What the fuck? É o IDO. Qual é o ticker do dólar? Quem tá copiando o dólar? Acho que é o IDOV, né? Faz mais sentido. Quanto meu.
That may not agree with you, in the sense that there's a lot of jumping around, there's a lot of music, there's a lot of noise, for lack of a better word, And a lot of those elements made me uncomfortable. They're not things that I would seek out.
Oh my God, I could not see you dancing and jumping around.
Right? It's just not my thing. But the filter that I used going into it, or the lens through which I was looking at it, was it was made easier because one of my very close friends I've known since college, who's had multiple company exits, is extremely accomplished. And he goes to Unleash the Power Within every year as a reset. He's been 11 times, maybe 12 now. He's been to David Destiny 6 times. Wow. And this guy is not a seminar junkie. He's not someone who avoids the work and goes to listen to a motivational speech so that he can feel better on a sugar high for
Vamos lá, temos o dólar aqui.
Like, this is not that guy. He
Então, eu tenho você aqui. Legal. Agora eu quero algo 7,7. Então essa região é a região de venda para o dólar. Mais profundo ainda.
That was the last day too.
That's right. So just that 30 to 60 minute exercise led me to dramatically improve my relationship with my father, to take responsibility for certain things that I had been telling myself were unchangeable, to really
78.
buckle down and
então, tiro 77. Tiro você. Tô de olho no 78. 78 para venda no dólar.
Now it's got to be 3 to 5 years ago. Those changes, the ripple effects of those changes that I made then.
E a região dos 540 para venda no índice. Então eu acredito que o dólar vai subir até essa região de 78 para testar esses caras mesmo. No mínimo 74. No máximo 78. Eu acho que o dólar vai testar ainda. Certo? Ele testando esses caras, há uma possibilidade de uma venda, acreditando nesse fluxo aqui, ó, de 15, vamos por 10 pontos. 15 pontos a 10 pontos. Que ele se repita a partir daqui. Então, um movimento assim, ó, que eu acredito. Aqui, ou aqui. E a gente tem todo esse cara para surfar com esse risco com certeza menor do que o retorno. E lá vai ele. Eu acabei de ganhar um livro de um amigo meu que morou comigo nos Estados Unidos. Na verdade, ganhar não, né? Ele mandou pra mim um livro que eu tinha comprado lá, mas não deu tempo antes de eu vir embora, que chama-se Principles, do Ray Dalio. Ray Dalio é o Da Vinci dos investimentos nos Estados Unidos. Então, para quem gosta, eu recomendo. Chama Principles. Ele tem canal no YouTube também. Ray Dalio, acho que Principles. Ou só Ray Dalio. Muito bom. Ele é um headfunder ferrado aí, muito bom. Então galera, eu vejo, tô no dólar agora, eu vejo venda no 78, no 74 e definitivamente uma compra no índice naquela região. Quero ver o índice. Já tocou, acho, o 540, né? Então quero ver o índice descer. Riscar essa Bollinger aqui pra gente. Risca ela. Certo? Risca ela igual foi aqui na venda. Igual foi esse cara aqui na venda. Certo? Risca ela pra mim. Riscou ela, já tá até colocando pra cima, ficando pra cima aqui já, ó. A gente vai ter bom motivo para acreditar em uma bela pernada de alta. Bela pernada de alta mesmo. Certo? A gente estaria operando aqui um ombro, cabeça a ombro no 60, uma bandeira no 5. Certo? Tá bonito. Tá bonito de se ver. Bem legal de se ver.
so seriously, and you can joke about it and have fun with it, because it's been forever since you know, you've probably ever done that in your life. Like, when was the last time you were able to take...
Já faz um podcast. Vou fazer um podcast. Pode crer, cara. Se eu não conseguir arrumar ninguém para entrevistar, vou fazer um podcast sobre um dos livros que eu li, ou que eu estou lendo. Eu estou lendo o Tribe of Mentors, do próprio Tim Ferriss, desse podcast que vocês estão escutando. Na verdade, esse podcast que vocês estão escutando é do Kevin Rose, mas ele é muito amigo do Tim Ferriss, então a entrevista é com o Tim Ferriss. Certo? Kevin Rose é um belo cara, um belo cidadão. Fala muito sobre biohacking, fala muito sobre desenvolvimento profissional e tudo mais. Bacana. Mas vou falar alguma coisa sobre alguns dos livros aí, um podcast bom, rápido. Então, galera, talvez esse fluxo aqui eu procure, no dólar, para vender. He's a big guy. He and Tony are very similar in size. And then you have Paul Jones. You have some of the most sophisticated traders and financial minds who have worked with Tony for 10 to 20 years. And that's on an ongoing coaching basis, because he does have very discreet, very tactical exercises and tools that help you to find blind spots and fully leverage the things that you're good at, and so on. So it's not easy, it's not comfortable, but certainly I've been very benefited by the time that I've spent considering these things. And I'm biased because in high school I read Unlimited Power by Tony, which had an impact. When I got out of college and had my first job, and I was commuting in my piece of shit minivan, the Green Machine, which was just a complete disaster of a car, but I was trapped on 101 in the Bay Area, for people who know, just bumper to bumper. Lá vem o índice aí, galera. Pode ser uma boa oportunidade de compra, como eu falei para vocês. Região dos 0,70, 145. Ficou muito próximo de 145 aqui, né? Chegou a dar quase ali. 235 também já pode ser um motivo para compra. Eu não vou comprar, prefiro esperar um pouquinho a mais, um susto a mais. Certo, mas é uma boa região. Então o setup está aí. A banda de Bollinger nos 5 minutos está passando por aqui também. Então, tem bastante coisa aí para a gente comprar. Então tem bastante estrutura. Veremos qual que vai ser. Se ele vier para cima, eu chuto, como nós tivemos pela primeira vez aí nos últimos dias uma boa oscilação, vamos dizer aí, quase 1000 pontos oscilando na manhã, eu chuto que à tarde ela vai ser concentrada aqui, ó. Não a compra, não a venda, lateralização. E amanhã ele abre com gap para ferrar todo mundo. Se eu tivesse que chutar, seria essa. Ou a opção de uma compra bem bacana aqui, bem legal mesmo. Ou a opção de vendas aqui para scalp, compras aqui para scalp. Vai ficar nessa região aqui, ó, o índice. Certo, ele faz o movimento contrário ao que eu quero. Pelo menos ele toca o 540. Então, venda para mim aí, totalmente. Não vejo compra. They bring me out. This is a television show, and they say, "Good evening, Mr. Ferriss. We just wanted to talk about bio, blah blah blah. What is your general opinion of the self-help genre, or something along those lines?" And in effect, I said, "I think 99.9% of it is just horseshit." And I said, "It pains me sometimes to be associated with the label self-help." For X, Y, and Z reasons, and then they didn't have like the stand on, right? Because I'd taken their side of the argument, which was então 355 suporte. Já deu até a entrada, então A, B, C, D. certo? Para quem estava interessado, bom, tá funfando aí. Eu acho que é venda, não acho que é compra. Não ainda.
There is some motive behind that they hope to help them, whether it's a shift of emotion, the gathering of knowledge so they can impress people at a dinner party or otherwise. And that if I were to look at who I would say potentially emulate in the world of self-help, it would probably be someone like, this is a name you brought up earlier, Ben Franklin, right? Who most certainly wrote extensively about what we would consider today self-help, but he's not lumped into the category of, say, potential, and these people do exist, certainly charlatans who are just selling a bill of goods that doesn't deliver, right? There are plenty of people who have not walked the walk and talk extensively about their expertise and make recommendations and prescriptions. There are people all over.
Galera, infelizmente não rolou o terceiro trade do dia aí. Nem acho que vai rolar hoje. Acho que é o terceiro cenário aí. Vai ficar aqui, ó. Vai ficar nesse quadrado, nesse retângulo, né? E amanhã a gente torce para ele abrir próximo aqui pra gente comprar, certo? Porque eu acho que a melhor operação para essa semana é compra, não é venda, tá? Mas não acredito que essa compra venha agora. Se vier, infelizmente a gente perdeu o melhor do dia, né? Porque o alvo realmente é fechamento de gap ali no 390, o alvo. Então dá quase 1000 pontos aí. É bacana. Tá, mas não compro aí não. Tô fora. Pra mim aí é ponto de venda, 670. Talvez olhar uma venda aí. Não é uma venda que eu mais gosto, mas é ponto de venda aí. Não tenho que discutir.
To what it is you're examining.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be scammers in every genre too. Yeah, I love how Joe Rogan, I don't know if you've seen these posts that he's done recently, but he does videos of these markets.
Então, ó, o alvo para essa venda, por enquanto, é o 105, certo? Então, 1, 2, um pouquinho de violinada, 3.
Throwing people across the room with their chi explosions and so on, and his caption is usually legit as fuck or hashtag legit as fuck.
So good, so good.
Yeah, there's a lot of nonsense out there, but it doesn't mean that everything within a certain category is nonsense. And it doesn't mean you should spend your entire life filtering for the 1%, but also there are ways that you can assess the validity of different paths, and quite frankly,
335 é suporte. Vamos ver se o dólar sobe com essa queda. O IDOV tá aqui. Lá vai o dólar. Então vamos monitorar aqui esses pontos. Então 7578, 3 pontos aí de região de venda para pegar este cara aqui de 20 pontos agora. Melhorou o retorno. E o risco continua pequeno, ótimo. Então, vai ser interessante olhar aí o dólar. Vixe, olha o índice. Ai, ai. Será que ele vai vir lá para nossa região de compra? Então vamos ver. Temos venda e compra. Eu não levaria em consideração nenhum candle de força nessa região, tá, galera? Então, por mais que esse candle possa parecer medonho para quem está comprado, tá numa região de consolidação, então candles de força não quer dizer nada. Candle de força rompendo esse fundo aqui, sim. Ou rompendo essa máxima aqui, sim. Mas no meio aqui, não quer dizer nada.
Yeah, I put it up. Yeah, this is a great way to cut through all the crap, you know? Yeah, I put it up on the blog, and if you give me a second, I will find where it is. This might take a second. So I'm looking at Tribe of Mentors, the most recent, but the... Where did I find this? If you go onto tim.blog and search like Tools of Titans books,
we can put a link in the show notes, right?
We'll put a link in the show notes. So if you want a link, this will be the smarter way to do it. If you want to see a page where the most commonly recommended books from Tools of Titans and from Tribe of Mentors, combined, you're looking at about 500 different world-class performers of all different disciplines, ranging from top professional athletes to chess prodigies to former generals, certainly 12-plus billionaires. Then you will get to see, rank ordered in terms of frequency, which books are most recommended. So I'll put those in the show notes, and you guys can find that at tim.blog/podcast. If you want to see, of these people who are the best at what they do, which books across disciplines do they recommend most often? A few of them, just off the bat, for people who are curious. Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. Poor Charlie's Almanac by Charlie Munger. Seeking Wisdom by Peter Bevelin. And Atlas Shrugged, even though it's a controversial book, but Ayn Rand comes up a lot in terms of developing a sense of personal agency. I think that has popped up quite a lot, and many more. But I'll give you the full list, because there are some that pop up quite frequently that you won't recognize at all. And those are, to me, oftentimes the really fun ones to explore.
Awesome. Yeah, I've got a bunch of Audible credits waiting to be spent, so I'll do that.
Awesome, man. Well, I think that this is a solid catch-up.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, and it was fun to chat.
And where can people learn more about Kevin Rose, find you on the interwebs?
Certainly, my podcast is available at kevinrose.com. And then also, if you want to check out my free meditation app, it's 100% free, a little bit more traditional meditation. It's called Oak, and you can do that at oakmeditation.com.
Oh,
nice.
Aplicativo de graça para meditação, Oak.
I don't, Twitter at Kevin Rose, but I don't know that I use it that much anymore. I'm more a newsletter guy. If you go to my website, if you sign up for my newsletter, I do a once-a-month newsletter. And that's kind of what I use.
It's a good newsletter. I subscribe to it, which I can't say for many. And yeah, Twitter's turned into a bit of a nasty neighborhood on most days. You just feel like you're minding your business, whistling, walking down the street, and then you have people throwing potted plants at your head.
And then Facebook's a whole shit show, so it's like it's the worst kind of show.
What to do? Go back to the tried and true. Instagram or email.
Yeah.
All right, my man. Well, thanks so much for taking the time, and hope to see you soon. Come visit Austin. I will. Got a barrel sauna waiting for you.
Awesome.
All right, man.
See ya.
See ya. To everybody listening or watching on the YouTubes, you can find links to everything that we've talked about in the show notes, tim.blog/podcast. And until next time, be safe. Do not take meth for fun. Follow professional advice with anything.
Então vários pontinhos aqui, hein, galera. Um setup forte aqui, ó, vários pontos. Tá? E aí, ó. Parece que vai ficar legal. E o índice a gente torce aí, né, para um bom trade. Né, tô aqui monitorando o. Certo? Quero que ele venha, toque aqui, risque nossa Bollinger querida e deixe um marteleza, né, ou uma cauda, como aqui, certo? Como foi ontem aqui. Então, pode ser uma boa, vamos ver o dólar, tá subindo.
And it is a really good ramen shop from a guy from Japan that came out to Portland and opened a ramen shop out here. And then also, I would say my favorites right now, another place called Ox, phenomenal steak. Another place called Tusk, which is some of the best hummus I've ever had in my life. And then, of course, the microbreweries out here are to die for. There's just so many brew pubs making their own beer, and you could just spend weeks just bouncing around different breweries and trying different beers. So I have also been trying to do some outdoor activities to burn off that beer gut, because that'll sneak up on you real quick. Speaking of beer, I am back together with my old Dignation co-host, Alex Albrecht, for this show. This is an episode, we call it Talking Tech. This is where we get together every few months, talk about our favorite tech stories. that are going on during that time. And this time we got into some real fun stuff. We were talking about flying cars, which it sounds like a futuristic 20-30 years out, but really they are selling them now. They're not really flying cars. They're flying drones that carry humans. So those are pretty cool. I don't know if you guys have been tracking all the different, there's like 4 of them out there, 4 different manufacturers that are making them, but they're pretty amazing. We talked about the augmented reality Magic Leap glasses that are coming out this summer. Also bendable phones, the new $399 Surface Go, the new version of Android P that is almost about to be released, and then of course Bitcoin. Alex is a huge fan. I'm a dabbler, and we go really deep on his adventures into Bitcoin. Now, before we get started, as you know, if you listen to my podcasts in the past, 1 out of every 4 or 5 are actually sponsored, and that is not because no one wants to sponsor the show. I've had a lot of people reach out, but it has to be really something that I'm excited about and into and use and really believe is worthwhile to recommend to other people, because I don't want people spending their money unless it's a great product or service. And I will say the one service that I've been using for years and years is Audible. And Audible is, of course, the largest audiobook online store in the universe. And you can go to audible.com/KevinRose and you get a free 30-day trial. And for me, Audible, it's pretty straightforward. We can learn a lot from books, obviously. I don't read enough physical books. I'm always on the go, and I have big chunks of time where I can learn something and then also be productive. So meaning when I'm at the gym, I'm on the treadmill, I'm running for a half hour, boom, Audible, 1.5 speed, jam through a book. If I'm sitting in the sauna and trying to get in some of that healthy sauna time, Audible right there. In the back of an Uber, this summer we're doing a lot of stuff outdoors, going to be going on hikes, if you're out sunbathing at the beach, whatever you're doing. Oh, road trip. I took actually, this is a true story. I went from San Francisco to Portland, drove my car, and I went through Michael Pollan's new book, which is all about his experimenting with psychedelics. It's called How to Change Your Mind. Phenomenal book. I know I mentioned it last time, got through it. It was great. I highly recommend it. It's not just a random dude doing psychedelics. This is Michael Pollan, best-selling author, and he really approaches it from this idea of almost like the science behind it. So it really gets into what's going on in your brain, how it could be used for people with PTSD, anxiety, people that are cancer patients that are kind of end of life, that use it to overcome their fear of death. There's just like a lot of really interesting and fascinating research that's going on in this world. And a big shout out to Tim Ferriss.
Galera, vou me despedindo então, né? Mas deixando para vocês aí a doleta, um belo ponto aqui, o índice. 355 é o suporte que eu falei para vocês. O ABCD fechado funcionou como ponto de entrada. Opa! Então realmente tem galera acreditando que esse vai ser o fundo do dia, pelo visto, né? E entraram aqui. Agora o alvo está na melhor venda, que é dos 670 aos 745. Venda para mais uma vez a gente ter a terceira pernada de baixo do dia, que eu acho que vai vir. 2, e pode ser a terceira aqui, ou pode ser a terceira aqui. Se for a partir desse ponto, vai confluir com a minha região preferida de compra, que é o 0,70 aos 145. Interessantíssima seria uma compra ali. Certo. Um grande abraço para todo mundo. Até amanhã, sexta-feira, dia de payroll, talvez, né? Se não for, vocês me corrijam. Se foi na semana passada, não sei. É sempre a primeira semana de cada mês. De qualquer maneira, fico por aqui. Um abraço a todos. Obrigado pela força. Obrigado a vocês que estão consumindo Fibonacci Trading, né? Muita gente acabou comprando o Fibonacci Trading depois que comecei a fazer essas lives. Então tem me ajudado bastante. É sempre legal. Ajuda a manter o site, a manter o podcast, a manter essas lives, o canal em si. Certo? Não deixe de checar lá para também artigos gratuitos e conteúdos também gratuitos, todos no meu site www.violinada.com.br. E o novo bebê xodó de todos é o podcast. Também não deixe de escutar lá, beleza? Violinada Trader Podcast no Spotify. Um abraço, galera. Muito cuidado. Do 145 ao 170. Eu acho que vai ser uma belíssima compra ali, certo? E no doleta dos 74 até os 78, né? Isso? Deixa eu voltar lá para não falar bobagem. É, exatamente, do 74 ao 78. Belíssimo, 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 belíssimo setup. Dá até para colocar um fibozinho aqui, certo? Sem dúvida nenhuma, para te ajudar a dar confluência, certo? Qualquer coisa, eu posto mais um vídeo à tarde aí falando da experiência. Se não, até amanhã, até a live. Tchau, tchau.